Welcome to the very first episode of It's Too Bad, the show where we search for the silver linings in the worst possible films. My name is Jason.
And I'm Ted, and today we're going to dive into a movie that is widely known as the worst film ever made, Plan 9 from Outer Space. Now, to me, finding silver lining in this wasn't very difficult. This is 1959 when it premiered. Ed Wood directed it. Widely known since, I think it was 1980 when someone made that statement that someone said, oh, it's the worst movie ever made. But since then, it's been getting this cult following where it's really not that hard to find good things about it.
Sure. In style and in tone, very similar to most monster movies or space movies you'd see in the 50s and 60s. Except for it's sort of a mashup of the two genres.
True. Yeah, and with that mashup, I think he lost his way a little bit, and he wasn't really sure where he was going. But I think what was good about it, to me, was the idea that he was really pouring his heart and soul into this. You can see the love he had for this movie. Sure. It just didn't really come off that way.
Right.
The budget, I think, was a major issue. Yeah. He didn't have that much money, and getting, Bela Lugosi to star when he's dead is real tough.
The budget, from what I understand, a lot of it came from a church, and the original title was going to be something like Grave Robbers from Outer Space. I think even that's said in the film, but the church didn't like the Grave Robber title, and so that's where Plan 9 came from. Wow. He had to switch it up in the middle of things, but when it all comes down to it, even you change the title on something where spacemen are bringing the dead back.
The purpose of which is to scare America or the world and pretty much tell us that we're terrible people for trying to destroy. Apparently, we're going to destroy the Earth
because we're just creating bombs and bigger bombs,
all sorts of bombs. Well, that was the scare after we dropped the bomb.
I guess it's
people in the 50s were very frightened of this. Sure. That's just a normal thing. Another thing I found great in this film, great, loose term, was I really enjoyed the narration. The narrator to me really was on point.
I believe his name's Criswell, and he
goes
was
by
apparently
one name.
Known in that era as like a psychic, somebody you'd see on like a Johnny Carson if there was a Johnny Carson back then.
Right.
He just got the most flowery narration for such a weird, kooky movie.
Yeah.
Some of it not too deep, some of it overly deep, I felt like.
Right, like the future will be in the future or something like that, and you're like, yeah, it will be.
It sure will be.
We are all interested in the future, for that is where you and I are going to spend the rest of our lives. And remember, my friend, future events such as these will affect you in the future.
If you watch any film, really, of the 50s and 60s, it's very melodramatic. It's almost like a soap opera no matter what you're watching. And so the actors, they're doing just as good of a job as anybody else. They don't know that it's going to be a hokey movie, thinking, oh, I'm just going to skate my way through it. They're actually trying. The pilot, who is sort of a main character in this, there's not really one singular main character. But we follow a pilot who notices UFOs, and
he really nailed it, especially when the sets were terrible. I mean, when you're in an airplane, it looks like this, and we're sitting in a chair, and we're trying to fly an airplane.
And there's little meters that are just like paper clock dial.
But to me, the actors didn't seem worried about it. It wasn't like, I'm gonna not give a good performance because I'm in a chair with, a paper, thing to steer with. It doesn't make sense. But yet they gave a performance that was believable enough to make that work, I think. So
I think the characters are decent. I don't think, I mean, some of them are not really fleshed out, like why are the people that they're bringing back just dressed like their characters from other movies? True. If you know Vampira or Bella, obviously Bella dressed as Dracula from the Universal movies.
Yes. Very strange. But costumes were, maybe they just got those and that's what they wanted to wear.
Sure.
I don't know, Ed Wood just let it happen, and I'm okay with that. What I think is the main point of the film, and I've seen other people discuss that this was about how humanity is its own enemy, but I really think that Ed Wood, is searching for respect.
Right.
And if you see the film, there are 3 aliens, only 3. But lots of spaceships. But there are 3 aliens, and the main boss alien sits in space and lets everyone do his thing. But he's really worried that America or even the world won't give him respect. They won't even acknowledge that they exist. And he's mad. So he goes through plan 1 through 8, doesn't work, and 9 is the one that's really going to take it up a notch. But this guy, to me, is really written, because it was written by Ed Wood, as Ed Wood. Like, Ed Wood's looking for respect from Hollywood, looking for respect from his peers, and he's really trying to get that. And through this film, you can kind of see that, but it loses its way again, just because he had too many different things going on.
You had military action going on at the same time as, like, Bela Lugosi is coming into the pilot's wife's room in the middle of the night, and she has to run through the graveyard, which they happen to live next to. Never a good idea. He had a lot going on, and I feel like this is kind of the point of the show too, is that making movies is not easy. It takes a lot of people. It takes a lot of time. Some people take more time with it than others, but the passion that Ed Wood has is just landmark, and I think it's showcased here more than even a lot of his other films.
Absolutely.
This is like a passion project for him. Bela Lugosi was like his hero, and being able to get him even at the end of his life, literally the end of his life, he dies in the middle of filming this.
Yeah. So when you watch it, there will be a guy like this, and that'll be Bela Lugosi's character, because he's no longer around.
Right.
And
so let's give it up for that guy too, because truthfully, those are big shoes to fill.
Right.
And he had to just know that he was Bela Lugosi for the rest of that film.
With that, he's not going to get any screen
He's never
credit.
going to get his face shown. I don't think anything was done well throughout the whole movie, but I feel like there are moments, obviously the graveyard scenes are terrible, just the way they're filmed, but there's moments where once he raises from the dead, he's kind of wandering through the foggy graveyard, and some of those shots are actually lit well. You can't always tell where the light's coming from. It doesn't make sense all the time, but it's visually pleasing. The music, if you really listen to the score in the graveyard, is pretty good. They're just creepy enough. I feel like it's like when you hear an R. Kelly song at a school dance, where you're like, this is kind of the place for it, but it makes me uneasy. And that's
R. Kelly does.
And that's the music in the graveyard. I thought that was pretty good. What more can you ask for? Yeah, the story's crazy. The director makes bad choices left and right, but
absolutely,
I've seen plenty worse.
Right, and I think a lot of the problem was budget, and the idea that this genre was played out by the time he was there. Right. 56, he made the movie, it didn't get shown until 59. Right. So when that finally hit, people were not looking for that anymore. We were turning the clock on that decade, and there was no reason to watch that kind of film anymore. So it really doesn't do a great service for him. But overall, to call it the worst film ever made, that's a little harsh. So
what we'd like to do here is kind of rate each movie on a scale of it's too bad to watch. I can't recommend it. And then right about there is it's too bad people didn't give it a shot, because it's really not that bad.
Right, because we can't go here.
No, those are,
because there's no good movie like that. This is as
my
good
wrist
as it's
doesn't turn like that.
No, it was carpal tunnel. Yeah. That's tough for you. Yeah. Okay, so on a rating here, where would you rank it?
I'm gonna give it a solid.
I'm gonna say try
side thumb. I'd say it's too bad that people think so lowly of it.
Right, and I think now, because of this rating and other people's, just the idea that it's so well known as the worst movie that you have to see it.
Sure.
If you're a cinemaphile, you have to see this film.
Absolutely. Grab some popcorn, grab some friends, and watch Plan 9 from Outer Space.
All right, guys, if you like this review, go ahead and like and subscribe. Leave your comments below. And don't forget to check out our website. It's toobad.com. Right here. Should be right there. And we're going to be doing a podcast as well. Next week, we'll be talking about Plan 9 from Outer Space again. But through a different lens, we'll be looking at it as a bad film. Go ahead and check that out, and we'll see you next time.